Hey guys, it's Vanessa and welcome back to my channel. I have another what's for dinner for you guys this week, but it's a little different than my typical because I'm gonna be honest, you guys say you like that I'm so real. Well, this was a real week and Mama didn't do much cooking, but I dug through some of my old clips and some of my old videos and found some of my favorite meals. Basically, I just sat through my computer, scrolled through everything that looked delicious and went, I'm gonna share 5 of the meals that made me go, with you guys right now. And one more thing, of course, you guys, if you are new to my channel, please take 1 minute, subscribe, click the notification bell so you find out every time I post a new video and give it a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. All right, let's get into those 5 delicious meals. All right, guys, we are back to voiceovers. So for this week's Deconstructed Chicken Parm, we're gonna serve it up with some steamed broccoli and some boiled peas. But what you're gonna need to make the Deconstructed Chicken Parm is some sort of pasta. I chose penne, some cooked chicken. You're gonna need some breadcrumbs, seasoned or season them yourself with onion salt, garlic powder, basil, and oregano. I'm also gonna throw some minced garlic in with the chicken, a jar of your favorite pasta sauce. Also gonna need a little bit of salt and pepper, just some regular old shaky cheese, grated Parmesan, and some pizza mozzarella, or just straight up mozzarella. Here's everything you're gonna need to put this together. First up, I'm gonna salt my pasta water, and while that's coming to a boil, I'm gonna grate up my cheese. Now you can make this as big or small as you'd like. I have a 9x9 square pan here that I'm gonna use. We were just a small amount of us that night. So I'm gonna go ahead and press all the chicken into the bottom, and I'm gonna mix everything in that pan in just a minute. First, I'm gonna prep my breadcrumbs. You can season these as strong or as little as you like. I would say I probably put about a tablespoon of each herb and probably close to equal parts Parmesan and breadcrumbs and a few shakes of the garlic salt and the onion powder. I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle it all over the chicken. I am going to mix this all together in a second with a fork, so don't be too fussy about it. But basically, this is like the breading if you are making actual chicken parm. I'm also going to coat it with just a little bit of olive oil just to help let the crumbs adhere to the chicken and give it a little bit of crispiness. Now I'm going to shake probably about a teaspoon of minced garlic and stir it all together. I could have done this in a separate bowl, but I'm not about those dishes, you guys. Now I'm going to empty out this jar of sauce right over top and smooth it all out. Then we'll add the goodness, the mozzarella cheese, and on top of the mozzarella, I'm going to go ahead and shake on more of the breadcrumbs.
With sun all year round and pina coladas, with pretty faces and sand on the ground. I want to stop this ongoing trend.
Now, where the chicken is already cooked, the idea is just to warm this all through and get it nice and bubbly. So I put it in the oven at around 375 for roughly 20 minutes, but as soon as it starts to bubble around the edges, you know it's done. Hey, now I gotta wash it. Why are you licking it? Roxy, she's licking it. Stop. Stop. Alright, it's going in the laundry, don't worry. You guys are nutsos. Stop it. Ugh, who invited you? Alright, me. You get away. What did I wipe on there? That's so delicious. Hi. This should not miss nothing. It's just this, see? Poo-poo. Alright, let's cook. There you saw it, super hot and bubbly. You guys, this is one of those throw together meals that I adore. You could use frozen chicken for this, pre-cooked chicken, rotisserie chicken, just leftover chicken, whatever you got. I'm telling you, throw this together. You won't regret it. Your family will inhale it. For dinner number 2, it's Crockpot hamburger stew. First off, obviously you'll need a crock pot. Next, I have a pretty large portion of ground beef here, hence it is a hamburger stew. I don't know why they don't call it ground beef stew, but whatever. I do have this can of tomato sauce. Ignore it. I don't end up using it. I am going to use an entire 28-ounce can of tomatoes, diced or whole, that's up to you. I will use a can of tomato paste, a couple cups of beef broth, some black pepper, Italian seasoning, this beef stew packet, and some salt. Also, this whole bag of baby carrots. We're keeping it simple tonight, guys. Some whole mini potatoes, and a turnip. So let's get right into this meal.
What's breaking our hearts? I said, hey, follow the spark. Ain't nothing.
Now for this recipe, you do want to cook the ground beef prior to putting it into your crock pot. So I like to season it first with a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm also going to add the beef stew packet to this. I'm not following any directions on the beef stew. I'm just adding the seasoning, and I only added about half. If you were using more ground beef, then you could use more. I'm also going to add some of the tomato paste directly to the ground beef while I'm cooking it, again, just to help develop some of those flavors.
This free life I've been hearing about. You will see us howling like wolves.
Go ahead and add the ground beef right to the crock pot. I add the grease and all because, you guys, fat is flavor. I was at my mom's house when I cooked this meal, and this knife that I'm using is literally the same knife that my mother has had since I was a toddler. I'm almost 39, you guys. Anyway, lucky I didn't cut my finger off trying to cut this turnip, let me tell you. So I'm cutting it into bite-sized pieces to kind of match the carrots, because you want all of your vegetables to cook at the same time, which is why I left the potatoes whole, because they won't take quite as long as the turnips and the carrots. I'm going to empty the tomatoes right on top along with any juice in there. You want that added liquid, and a couple, maybe probably 2 or 3 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, and the rest of that can of tomato paste. Now, as for liquid, I probably added roughly 1 to 2 cups of beef broth. You can kind of gauge depending on, again, the quantity that you're preparing.
'Cause as long as we're together.
Now go ahead and make sure this is really well combined and season accordingly. We like a lot of pepper, so I went ahead and added quite a bit of pepper and a little bit more salt. I'm going to go ahead and throw the lid on, put it in the crock pot on low for about 8 hours.
Breaking our hearts. I said, hey, follow the spark. Ain't nothing but.
Here it is, you guys. I wish you could smell this. It was amazing. My mom was at work that day while my daughter and I were visiting, and I decided I wanted to cook a nice home-cooked meal, something very reminiscent of my younger years at home. She was super pleased. So were we. This is incredible, and it's one of those things that's even better the next day warmed up. You guys, hamburger stew, it's a must try. Now, I couldn't show you my favorite meals without a maritime classic, Atlantic seafood chowder. I will list all the details and measurements down below in the description box, but basically, you're going to need some sort of milk. I like milk, not cream. I even use lactose free. I'm telling you guys, it still turns out really, really good. I like using these little mini baby potatoes because then I don't have to spend time peeling, and I can just dice them up really small, and they're very tender. I'm also going to throw some celery in there. I have some of this Better Than Bouillon, the chicken flavoring. If you just had chicken stock, you could do that too. I have an onion that I'm going to throw in. I'm also going to dice up very small and finely a carrot. You could put any vegetable you like, but this is just more traditional. I'm also going to throw in some bacon. If you had pork fat, you could use that as well. It's just always nice to have some sort of fat in with your chowder. You're also going to need some butter. I just happen to have these blocks of margarine that I bought for instances like this when I don't think it makes a huge difference. You're also going to need roughly 4 cups of water, but like I said, I will list all the measurements down below. You're also going to need, for seasonings, you're going to need a little bit of thyme, bay leaves, and also some dill, and of course, salt and pepper. Now, seafood, in my opinion, is subjective, so you put whatever you would like. I like to keep my chowder a little more affordable, so I like to use frozen or canned seafood. I have these bay scallops. You could use sea scallops, but I would cut them up. Bay scallops are smaller than sea scallops. I'm also going to use canned clams, just these baby clams, along with the juice. They're perfect for this, as well as these cocktail shrimp, because they're very, very small, so it's nice to have everything on one spoonful. I'm also going to use this crab flavored meat. I had a can of lobster in my hand and it was $30, and I was like, who do you think you are, Vanessa? Get the flavored crab. It is perfectly fine. So this is everything we're going to use. First step is to go ahead and cook up your bacon. Now, ideally you have a deep pot or Dutch oven to be cooking this in. I'm going to go ahead and heat up some oil along with some butter, or margarine in this case, and add all of my vegetables. I didn't show you guys chopping everything up, otherwise this video would have been extremely long. So here we go. Go ahead and check out my video from February. I'll show you the details of me chopping this up. Basically, I'm just trying to heat the vegetables through and get some flavor in there. I've also went ahead and started heating up my milk. When I'm making chowders or any soups like that, I like to heat up my liquids so that I'm not adding cold milk to my hot liquids. I'm also going to go ahead and season my vegetables right away with salt and pepper and some of the dill weed. I don't know if you guys are used to using dill, but it's really good in seafood chowder. I've also made up a little flour slurry, equal parts flour and water to thicken it later on, and I've set that to the side. A little trick here that I have is adding a little bit of the juice from the clams to my vegetables while I'm sauteing them. It really amps up the flavor. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the potatoes, then I'll add the water and a little bit more seasoning, and I'm going to let these cook for about 15 minutes just till they start to soften before I add any milk or seafood. So everything's been boiling. I went ahead and chopped up the bacon. I'm going to add that in, season a little more with salt and pepper, and add in my seafood. So I'm just gauging based on the size of my pot. And if you guys have been watching for a while, you know I'm a terrible gauge of that. So I had a little extra seafood. It's fine. It was still frozen, the bits that were, and I'll go ahead and throw it all into a Ziploc bag and reuse it for my next chowder. I'm going to go ahead and add about a tablespoon of the Better Than Bouillon just to give it a little extra flavor. I also like to add probably about a tablespoon of lemon juice just to cut the richness of the seafood. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring back that flour slurry that I made earlier and slowly incorporate it into my mixture right now before going ahead and adding the hot milk. Now, like I said, I like to push the limits on my pots, as you can see right here. Don't worry, she made it. It didn't overflow. No words are needed. This was phenomenal. Next up, Juicy Lucy cheeseburgers.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking?
So there's not really an ingredient list for this, because basically you use your favorite ground beef and your favorite cheese. For me, I find processed works better because it's just got a better melting point than like harder cheeses. So what I do is I take about one processed cheese slice and I break it into quarters, and I use 3/4 of it per burger. This seems to give just the right amount of cheese that oozes out the sides.
Can we stay here together?
Now, obviously, I'm using a jar of relish and a pot to try and flatten my burgers. If you guys have a burger press or something, by all means use that. But you know what? I find that I can do just as well with the tools just hanging around my house. So the only thing is to make sure that they're fairly flat, because you will be putting two together, and making sure the edges are really well sealed so you don't lose all of that cheese while you're cooking them.
I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking.
I know you guys have heard me go on about this griddle, but I love my rock griddle. Y'all need to go out and get yourselves ones. Yes, I just said y'all. I can't help it.
Just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feel it.
I do have one little burger off to the right there. That's for somebody who does not want a cheeseburger. Basically, I'm pressing very lightly, but not too hard, because I don't want all of the flavor to go out of my burgers. And what I did do was use a roast pan to kind of steam them and make sure that they were really well cooked through. And I got that really melty, ooey gooey. Well, you can see it right here.
Forever, 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 forever. I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment.
Reason number 237 I love a griddle is you get to clean up super quick and easy.
Can we stay?
Now, since it's a little bit of a fancier burger, we decided to go with some brioche buns. They're really, really nice and sweet. Also some tomatoes and some lettuce. And I also did up some onion rings in the air fryer.
Can we stay here forever? I'm loving.
I also decided to slice up a red onion and add some dill pickles to the top of this. But you guys, just wait for this incredible cheese. Wait for it.
'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?
I was super proud of this moment, you guys, I have to confess. Anyway, Juicy Lucy burgers have become a staple in this household. My last dinner for this week had to make the cut because it was homemade lasagna helper. Since I've discovered this, I feel like I'm in this whole new era, you guys. Choose whatever pasta you'd like. I like the bow tie. Grab your ground beef, jar sauce, some chicken stock, minced garlic, Italian seasoning, salt and pepper, and an onion in a deep skillet, and you've got an incredible meal. While my ground beef is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and measure out the rest of my ingredients, which I believe was about 3.5 cups of chicken stock. I only had about 3 cups, and I top it up with another half a cup of water. I went ahead and added about a tablespoon of minced garlic, and I opted for minced onion instead of regular onions because I realized my daughter was eating it and she's not a big fan of pieces of onion. I went ahead and added some salt and some pepper, and then you can add your pasta and all of your sauce. Go ahead and stir to combine. I'm going to add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of just generic Italian seasoning. If you don't have that, you could just take oregano and basil and some parsley, and that would probably cut it. So bring it up to a boil and then throw a lid on it. Just check on it and stir it. Make sure it's not sticking to the bottom of your pan, and make sure that all of the liquid is absorbed and the pasta is cooked. While that's happening, go ahead and grate up some mozzarella cheese because we're going to throw this in there as well. Combine this till it's heated through and the cheese is melted, and serve it up. You guys, I don't know how to explain this. It is so good. I will never look at another box of Hamburger Helper again because it was so stinking easy. Please try this if you don't try anything else. There you have it. A little less traditional than my typical what's for dinner, but I wanted to share with you my 5 favorite meals to date. here they are. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment down below if you did, and I'll see all of you in my next video. Take care.